morning.
It is.
A little nervous.
No need.
Thank you. I just came from San Diego, just arrived. Great seeing you. I just resigned my job and trying to pursue my passion or what I think is my purpose in life. And I know you're infinite intelligence. So my question is, now what?
We think the word resigned is an interesting word, and we want to call your attention to it because of the benefit of what it means can be to you. I resigned, sort of resignation, meaning I sort of gave up to the pounding forward in the unhappiness that I was living. So I just sort of gave in. I decided to stop the struggle. Yes?
Yes.
Well, then the now what is really bright if you really have stopped the struggle. Because as you're living and asking and living and asking and living and asking and living and asking, all kinds of things have been lined up for you. And all of those things have been available to you. Lots of good ideas and lots of wonderful, good feeling paths, productive, profitable, good feeling paths, where you would feel productive in your work and you would feel happy in it and you would feel seen and heard, where you would know that your contribution was of value. All of those things that you've been asking for are all lined up for you. But in your railing against the unpleasantness and the injustice from your point of view of what you were living, you had not relaxed or given in. And so you have a sort of shield or barricade up that keeps you from getting in the receptive mode where the good ideas about what next will come. So the important thing for you to do now, don't let yourself get into a position where you are defending and justifying your reason for leaving. Don't stay in the railing against, pushing against mode that you were in. Resign from that. Resign from all of it in the way that you walked away. Do you know your opportunity, your probability of being in a vibration that will allow your receiving of the next good idea and the next is much more powerful now than it was when you were tangled up in the mess of all of that unfairness that you were living. So what's next is to just enjoy the feeling of resigning. Enjoy the feeling of giving up the battle. Enjoy the feeling of saying, all right, inner being, all right, source energy, all right, universe, I'm yours.
Right.
I've given it up. Show me the path. And it is our promise to you. Ideas are going to start flowing. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay. Thank you. I love you.
I thought my inner being told me this week I was going to be first, so I guess I misheard. But happy birthday to Esther.
She doesn't really want to talk about it, but she just couldn't resist it because being here feels more like that celebration.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And my birthday's the end of this month, so I knew I liked Esther for some reason. So the past 2 months, I've really been, I feel, on a very high-flying disc. Things have been working well. I got a job. You and I have been dialoguing about that the past year. But what I want to talk to you about is the concept of time, because it seems to me that it's speeding up. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older. I don't know if it's because I'm really trying to stay in the present moment and be focused on how I feel and staying on that high-flying disc. But it's almost like I feel my life is in a blur. And so is that a product of just being in the flow and being downstream, or am I not paying attention?
Time is a perceptual thing. So from your perspective, it can speed up or slow down. You've all had experiences where an hour seemed like it was many more, or a day seemed like it was way too short. It's perceptual. One of the things that is a law-based reasoning Esther said, time is going fast and I want it to be slower. And so then she thought about what it was like, as she can best remember, from the time she entered school until the time she graduated from high school. And it felt to her, while it was happening, and even as she remembers back, like it took forever. So she decided to focus upon her 9-year-old at the time grandson and watch how slowly he moves through time. Didn't work for her because she can't perceive for him, but she is understanding that time is perceptual. So she began asking us about it. How can I slow it down and savor it more? And we said, your answer was in your question, by savoring it more. The details of that which you give your attention to. When you realize, and we know that you do, that here you stand in your physical body, but there is so much source energy and those who have gone before focused with you in your moment. And what that means, if you're in the receptive mode, you have the ability to perceive so much more in any given moment than if you're not in the receptive mode. So that in a little bit of time, you can have several wonderful rendezvous and several wonderful dialogues. You can have so much experience. There can be so much dovetailing of so many of the things that are important to you that your life then becomes really, really, really dynamic, where so many things are happening all at the same time.
Yes.
Well, we know that what's happening to you, since that is happening, is that you are equating getting so much done. It usually takes a lot of time to get this much done. So that gives you the illusion or the feeling that time is passing quickly, when all that is really happening is that you are experiencing more in the time that is passing. So you're misunderstanding your impression about that. Does that make sense to you? So much more happening. Esther's been having the experience where she will sit to do some projects, and there will be texts coming in and emails coming in and phone calls coming in and different experiences happening, and it will feel to her like the morning must surely have passed. And when she will look at her iPhone, she realizes it's only been 45 minutes and it should have taken most of the morning for all of that to have happened that efficiently and that effectively. So that's what we mean when we say time is perceptual. Everyone is measuring it differently. Your clocks seem to be measuring it the same. And as you are relating to your clocks, you think that you're really all on the same page in terms of perceiving time, but you are not. You're different vibrational beings in different sync with different degrees of non-physical energy. And it is to the degree that you are or are not connected to source energy that represents your true perspective of time. We are not even focused upon time. When people talk to us about time and how fast it is going, we say if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would disregard time altogether, and dollars too, because those two subjects are the thing you have most shortage consciousness about, which cause you to put most barricades up, which cause you to let less of the clarity in. But we would take time out of the equation altogether. We do take time out of the equation, but we would encourage you to do it too. This conversation has never happened before, ever, and to all of the universe. This conversation of who you are and what you know and your inner being and what you've been living, it's a unique and important conversation. And coupled with us, it has never happened before. And so the universe and consciousness and knowing has expanded in this segment as we've been visiting. So if we were focused with you, if we were focused as you're focused in your physical body, standing in your shoes, we would be focused upon the expansion, not the time in which the expansion is taking, the expansion itself. And as you take time out of the equation, you'll become less time shortage consciousness. And when you are less time shortage consciousness, you'll have more pleasure as your time passes.
So the way I'm feeling about time so quickly, though, I hear what you're saying about enjoying that in the expansion, but is that also an indication that I'm in the flow when all these things are coming to me?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm busier
Yes,
than
it is.
ever, but I don't feel that it's all that difficult.
You're doing some of all of it. You're like so many, Esther too. You're in the flow and things are flowing, and then you're not in the flow and you're complaining about not having enough time. Stop doing that. Enough?
you. One other question similar to time. So my son is going to be going off to college. He's going to be a freshman in Tucson in the fall. And there are days when I believe you and I have studied together for a very long time. I know he has his own guidance system.
Good. Next.
We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. But there's times when I cry uncontrollably. And then there's other
About
times
what?
when I miss him even though he hasn't left yet. I don't know what that's about. I was hoping you could tell me.
This is exactly what we were talking about earlier, about focusing on an idea and feeling the pleasure of it even though it hasn't happened. In this case, she's doing the anti thing that we were encouraging. She's making something up and focused upon that and using what she's imagining to make herself not feel good. Is the answer obvious to you?
It is. It is to focus on feeling good and to be happy for his journey, But as a mother, I'm going to miss him. But yeah, focus on his positive journey. I get it. Okay, we've enjoyed this interaction.
Are you with him every moment of every day?
No.
Now?
No.
Has he been home with you the whole time and all of a sudden he's leaving?
No.
What percentage of his time these days do you think he's actually spending with you?
That's true. Well, we have joint custody, and then school. He maybe a few hours, and I enjoy
a few hours every day of
a few
interacting
hours.
in conversation,
Yes.
or a few hours of being in the same proximity where he's doing his thing and you're doing your thing. A few hours, really? A few hours every day of communicating with him, really?
A little. Sometimes he's on the phone, and
Or are you confusing it with the time you spend thinking about him and feeling good? Even though he's on his phone, even though he's texting his friends, even though he's doing his thing,
Right.
You're not in communication with him. You're having pleasant thoughts about him. But you've convinced yourself that you can't have those pleasant thoughts about him unless he's in your near vicinity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Very good.
really good.
Really good.
Really
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
Love you.